Good evening, everyone, and thank you all for joining us today. My name is Rashmita, and I am the event planner for Microsoft Reactor India. This session will run over the next 60 minutes, including Q&A. But before we begin, please take a moment to read our code of conduct. We are all here to learn together, so please be respectful of other people's views, understanding of differences, being kind and considerate in the way you engage. The chat section will be open throughout, and we do encourage you all to participate. So please feel free to drop all your questions in the chat section. I would now like to welcome Swamy, our speaker for today's session. He is an aspirant software architect and currently works at Applied Information Sciences. He loves to learn about new technologies, but for now, I will hand over to Swamy to begin the session. Let me bring him into the stream. Hey, hi Swamy.
Hey Rashmita, good evening. How are you
Good
doing
evening.
this today?
I am all good. How about you?
Doing good. All excited for our next episode in Azure Open AI. We have a beautiful fictitious solution we are going to create. So if you could flash
Awesome.
my screen.
So, yes, there you go. All yours.
Thank you so much. I will pull myself out of the stream. Could you remove me out of the stream, my picture, but sharing?
Swami, you mean to say that you want to go off camera?
Exactly, exactly. Because yeah, correct, exactly. The full
Uh,
view just for the content.
yeah, sure.
Yeah, because I think last time Harry, I don't remember exact name, but he suggested that the font is a little bit bigger if there is no picture. Yeah, this is good, pretty good. Thank you so much. Thank you all for joining. What is that we are going to do today? A couple of episodes which we did it, just we built the context on what is OpenAI. We learned some of the fundamentals terms from a 60,000 to 90,000 foot view, and then we have done some experimentation on AI Studio. Then we spent some time on Postman. Then we spent some time on Python and C Sharp, and also we created our own chatbot experimentation. We tried a single page app kind of thing with uh, Flask API and .NET 8 minimal API. Both were exposing the static assets. So we were able to get through the HTML, JavaScript, CSS, and were able to get the content similar to the chat gpt. It's not exactly the chat gpt, doesn't have all the capabilities, but at least we were able to send some prompt and get some responses. So at least we were able to do that much in that. So now what we are doing is we are extending our knowledge, whatever those experiments which we did it. From now it's on full on solution mode. So what is that we are going to do? We will see that. So first I have to show my favorite slide. I'm still a learner, even though you see me with gray beard. But still, I'm a learner, lifelong learner. So apologize if I do any mistake. So we are creating a fictitious solution for a fictitious company. I'm calling it as a gimmicks travels. So actually, it's my mistake that I didn't modify the architectural diagram. It's my mistake. I apologize for that. But what is valid for this session is point one: user trying accessing the Blazor admin. It goes and talks to the Python Flask, which goes and talks to the Azure OpenAI, gets the content. So one, two, three, four, and five is this way. This the five, six, seven. I'm going to modify it in the next session. By the next session, we will retrieve the content, and this content we will give it to the minimal API .NET 8, and this is .NET 7, but I'll convert into .NET 8 by next session. and it will talk to the .NET 8 minimal API, which uses the SQL Server, and this is React 18. Now, if you see this microservices solution, has got Blazor, has got Python Flask, you have Open API, and minimal API, and React. So different technologies. We are not sticking to single stack. So that's a big picture. Just wanted to show you. It's a very simple concept, but what is key thing here is how we are going to integrate the Azure OpenAI or the artificial intelligence or the data analytics. How can we include that in a big picture or a big solution? So this experiment is on that. This one also. I mean, we'll come back and we'll discuss step by step. I just wanted to quickly show you that what is that we are going to do it. So imagine this is a Gimmicks Travels fictitious company. So that's this one, Blazor admin application. And that is going to talk to Python Flask. That is this one, the Python Flask. So what is this is doing in is, imagine a scenario where we want to find out what are the countries. I'm going to extend this application a little bit by next episode, but this episode we'll see the integration of first three pieces. So first is India. I'm asking to get information about India. So you see that there are no calls. I click on get information. So it's going to fetch it, and it is going to call the Open API, Azure Open API, and it is bringing in the content. Now, if I want any other country, France, I ask to get the information about France. Let's try UAE. So I click on that. So it gives us the Abu Dhabi, its population and birth. And the intention here is now we can correlate this picture. Now, this is a travels admin. He is trying to get some information about different countries where he wants to either support the travel agents or decide whether to support it or not. So instead of going somewhere, he's depending on ChatGPT or Azure OpenAI, to be precise, is depending on Azure OpenAI to give some of the information. So we'll get this information. Step one, we'll talk to Python Flask, which goes and gets it from the Azure OpenAI, and then it shows it here. So till that piece, we are done. So next is on click of save. It should talk to this .NET 8 minimal API. That's the next episode, and that goes and saves it. So when the React 18. This is an admin application. This is the customer application or the client application where the customer will log in. He goes and says that what all the travels you guys are supporting. So this will show the list of countries, maybe in the tabular form or in the card form. I don't know what I'm going to do it, but definitely there'll be something, either the card or tabular. On click of that, it shows it. At least to that extent, we know that we have created a microservices solution. Instead of we storing ton of data with us, we are relying on OpenAI, Azure OpenAI services to bring us that data. So we are not storing it anywhere. We are bringing this on the fly, and then we are storing it. So that's the big picture. Okay. So first we will see Python Flask. We'll discuss about few things. Uh, so the Python Flask API is easy, lightweight to use it. Okay, it's simple, and it's like an extension point, modular, whatever we want. We can write all-in-one architecture, or we can create um, uh, different folders and move and create the separation of concerns with that also. So let's see. That's about the Python Flask. We'll see the Python Flask API, and we'll discuss some of these things, how the integration is being done, and all those kind of things. So let me come back over here. The first thing what is we are going to discuss is, I'll just want to show you. This is my main repo, Pylor, and the demo script. There are two pieces for this. The demo script is here in this repository, Vishipilor Speaker Series 2023. Inside that, we have the demo script. I'm going to update this demo script a little bit and then check in. By tomorrow morning, you'll have the updated. And the source code for this is available in this organization. I just created a separate organization, Viswanatha Swamy Tech Skills Academy, where I'm storing all my open source demos wherever I do. So you can see AIML, Azure Open AI, and a lot of things are there. Out of this, the gimmicks travels. I just created few of those services. As of today, we are discussing about the Python Flask Azure Open AI API and Travels Blazor Server admin, which I'm going to bump it up to .NET 8. As of today, let's stick to .NET 7 because I don't want to do any last moment changes. I'm sticking with the .NET 7 as of today. Okay. So now let's come back to this one, the source code, and we will discuss about a few of the things which we have in our solution. So the first thing is, did I give? Yeah, I gave the instructions for how to create the virtual environment. So it's better to have our virtual environment anytime we create anything. And one of the suggested thing is to create a virtual environment with this name .venv or venv. It's not mandatory, but most of the people in industry, they suggest that to have this .venv, like you have .vs code and .venv, that we can put it as part of our git ignore, so that the entire folder will be ignored. So we see that within that we have include lib and scripts, and within that scripts for us to focus is this deactivate and the activate. So this is the bash shell, and this is the batch file, and this is the Python script. That's very important if you want to activate. So first we'll see that piece. We'll go step by step. So if I come and see that venv inside scripts, inside this activate is there. So when I click activate, you see this side of the prompt, it changes to the name of our virtual environment. It comes back. Now if I want to deactivate, all I can do is directly click on type deactivate. I'll come out of this. So let me activate it. So that's the first piece. The best suggested way is to have different virtual environments. And the next thing what we can do is I can come and pip freeze or pip list. We can get this list of libraries on which we are dependent. And another suggested best way to do is pip freeze, and you drop that into requirements.txt. So once you do that, so what is that which are needed for executing this application, everything will get captured inside that requirements.txt. So when we come back here and open that requirements.txt, you'll see that this is what our solution depends upon. So anytime you add any new packages, you can come and you can execute that, so that the latest so that what happens is the latest packages will get deployed there. And what is the advantage of this is anyone who is in our team, he wants to work, all they can do is just go ahead and create the pip the virtual environment. We will already give the instructions, and then all he has to do is directly come and execute that pip install -r dot requirement dot txt. So what happens is all the requirements will get deployed or installed in one shot. So we don't need to go write a big lengthy installation instruction saying that install this, install that, install this. This requirement.txt is one-stop solution where we'll get all the packages on which our solution is depending on will get deployed. Okay, and another thing is the .env file. So it's created an env file, and we will not check in the env file and .venv, the virtual environment, and .vs code. We will not check in those things. And similarly, we'll not check in this env, but we will create an example.env where we will say that what all the environment variables on which we depend on. So how do we create environment variables? There are different ways we can create. One of the method is to create using this .env file. Another thing is we can do the PowerShell. We can use PowerShell, or we can use Bash, or you can use command. So there are different ways to export environment variables. We'll quickly see this one. So environment variables in PowerShell. So you can see that environment variables. We can create these environment variables using ATEX, and we can use the bash to bash there. Okay, so you can see that we can create this way, or we can create using the method also. There is a method to create the environment variables. You can do either way. You can create that env like this, or we can use this methods like set environment variable, get environment variable. So this, what happens is, with this, even though you have those environment variables plugged into that .env file, but still you're using your environment variables which is outside the source code. You are defining it at the laptop or at the box level. So this is little bit safer. So similarly, we will have setx and getx in Windows. Setx environment variable. So you have setx and getx, and in Python, sorry, in Linux, you have export environment variable, in export environment variable in Ubuntu or Linux. So you have this one, environment variables, or you can, instead of export, you can write it in a bash shell, bash rc. So that different ways to do it. So when do you need to choose one over other? So that depends. Okay, if something is very critical, it's like a keys of the kingdom, compromising that will have some consequences. In that case, you can use those environment variables which is outside the source code. Just give me a minute, I'll have a glass of water. So something which is not that very financial loss kind of thing, that you can have it in env, but this env file also we are not storing, we are not saving to the repo. We will save only the env example. So in this case, I can show my env file, .env file. There is nothing secret. It's just what is the model deployment name and what is the API version, what is the endpoint. But the key thing is the API key. So that API key, I used the environment variables, the PowerShell method to set environment variable. So something uh, which is very critical, use the environment variables, but please put that as part of the example env. So anyone using your code, he knows that what is that it depends upon. And the next important point, if you see that this we created using the modular stuff. So we'll go one by one. So here we have Python Flask, and the routes. The first thing is we'll start from the routes. So the routes are coming in from here. You see this one, we are using the blueprint. The routes are being created. First, we'll see home route. The home route, if you see that blueprint, there we'll give the name and the import name and other parameters. As of now, we are not using any of those things. Just we are using this for the API. So we are using blueprint to create home API blueprint. BP is for blueprint. And using that, we are creating a route, and that route is slash, and the methods it has to support is get. So we're just logging something and sending some hard coded stringify the JSON content saying data, welcome to gimmicks travels Python Flask API, and the status code is 200. So that's what we are returning from this. So the next thing is we are integrating. This is very important piece. This is a piece which is linking two different things. So here also same thing. We are importing the blueprint. We have given the name of the blueprint, and this is what is very important. If you see that, get country info from Azure OpenAI. So that is part of this utilities that is over here. So what is this guy doing is it's pretty simple. It's just a class. It We are defining the API type, the base URL which we have defined in the .env file, and the version and the key. Now here see the difference. We are saying that get config value. So that is also another small utility, two lines utility, but just like an utility. So I can access the env related things from a centralized location. Suppose if we have four or two APIs, anything more than one, we want to use it. This small utility, two lines utility will definitely help me. I can call this method and give the configuration value. So accessing whether I'm reading it or whether I'm updating it, everything is happening from the centralized location. So if at all I'm getting a wrong value, where should I come and validate is this file. Small method, I can put a debugger or write a value saying that I'll know that, hey, I sent a key. If the key doesn't exist, it will return none. So that means there is some issue with the env file. So separation of concern. So all the retrieval or updating, in this case there are no updates, but retrieval everything has been centralized over here. So the next thing what we are doing is we are exposing one single method, get country info. So we are getting the country name, and here we are generating the prompt. So see that the key thing is if we don't give the flat JSON. So this also I have uh, played around with this to create this prompt. Okay, so it wasn't I wasn't getting it the required output at the first time, but I had to tweak the prompt quite a few times to get it right. Because I'll show you one of the thing which happens is, let me execute this one. We'll come back to the Postman, and inside from the Postman, I will get this country name one more time over here, and I call it as Africa instead of completely giving the South Africa. I'm giving not enough details for it to go and pull the details. Now we'll see that it gave uh, some information, but the output it initially generated without the prompt, like flat, it generated a different way. And also the numbers, also whatever it was generating was pretty different from what it generates to the majority of the cases. So these were two edge cases. The uh, the population count was not coming properly. Majority of the cases it was coming it, but for few cases it was not giving proper. And some of the times the object itself was not coming properly. So I had to tweak it. So that's one takeaway which I want to give it here. So please give me the country name, capital, state, national bird, country, population for country. Then this was the thing which I added. So it fixed almost all problems. I didn't face it after I added that in flat JSON object. That's what I added. And on top of that, I added this country population should be big int without separators. So what happened is some of the countries it used to have different separators, like maybe the thousand separators are little different, or the underscore string literal. So few things were coming little different from what I was expecting. So that was the reason. What I did is I have to tweak this prompt. Okay, that was from the prompt, and this one we have seen quite a few times, including this under the hoods. When we were exploring the prompt engineering session, we spent quite a few times, and best of one, that's important, and temperature is also one, but technically the temperature should be zero, because we don't want any dynamic, like today I give what is the state of what is the details of India. It's giving me Delhi, and tomorrow if I send the same thing, it gives Telangana. People will go mad. What is this? Every time I give, it's giving a new capital state. So we want the dynamism to be at the lowest level. I mean, we're expecting a correct and stick to the game kind of thing, until unless someone changes the capital state. That's a different story. But almost all, we need to get the similar kind of response or the same response. So technically the temperature should be zero. I kept it one. So this is the one which already seen. We are using the OpenAI object there, and we are going to this completion class, and we are calling the create method. You can see that this is a completion class, this create method. We can pass many number of parameters over there, and we are passing the engine, and that also we are getting it from the get config value utility, that is this utility. We are sending in the prompts, and we can send an array of prompt. If you see that the prompt, we can send multiple arrays, that we have seen in the C sharp example. In two episodes before this, we have seen that. And whatever the response it is coming, if you want to know the details, we can uncomment this line, and we can see, and we get the country info JSON, and then we are loading that, and we are sending it. Even this piece helped me fixing a lot of issues. So this line 34 and line 15, the flat JSON and without separators, that those two pieces in line 15 are coming from our prompt engineering experience. And this one, after facing quite a few issues, I learned it on my own, that I need to do it. So let's see that the full response also we can split it, so that we know that what is that it is giving for South Africa. We'll see. Let me come back over here. You see that we are getting the output over here. You can see ID object created model. What is this model? Text DaVinci 003. The hate filter, self harm, sexual violence, these all are false, and the severity is safe. uh, what we ask the question, and from the response perspective also, all the four content filters are safe. I mean, none of got flagged flagged as true, all are false, and the content whatever is retrieved is considered as safe. It's not low or medium or high severity, all are safe, like purely thick green color. So this is the prompt response, whatever we are retrieving from the Azure OpenAI. And then from that, we are stripping off the values from the first element. If you see that choices of zero, text, that means the first object. This is the object. The first object, we are getting it. And from that, we are retrieving the text. That's what we are technically doing it here. And logging, this one you can see that having logging is like a double-edged sword. We have to be a little careful uh, how much portion of logging we need to write it, and who will use it. Are we storing something which is critical? We should not store it. Will there be any consequences if we store it, like PII or some other important information? And even though we are storing it, what all the tools or utilities we are going to use it? And do we have a Zapper utility which will zip all the log files every week and put it to a centralized location, either regulatory requirements or for ourselves to go and backtrack any issue or find out the user journeys. There are multiple usages, but we need to be very careful what is that we are writing, how much we are writing. uh, is there any critical information we are writing into this one? So those kind of careful consideration we need to do. So let's come and see that logging. So this is the, we are importing the logging, we are writing the file handler. This is where we are writing the format, like what is that we want to do it. And error handling also, you can see that we have the centralized error handling, handle internal server error, handle error response. We have two error handlers. Now this is the scripts. What the script will do is, if you execute the script, it will go and tell that what all the files which are available. If you want to see that, I can show you. It's a nice utility. I saved it. If you like it, you can use it. If I execute this one, it nicely traverses through all the files within that folder, whatever the folder you give it. It gives all the file names. Like, actually, I could have excluded the PyCache folder. I don't need it, and I could have excluded the VS Code. That's accepting an array, if I'm not wrong. Yeah, it accepts the array exclude folders. So I could have put it here so that we'll get only the things which we needed. So it's a nice small utility. Just take a look at it. I checked in this code. So utilities we have seen, this one we have seen, this we didn't touch. App will come back. Routes also we have seen that. So blueprint routes. And the key thing, why did we come back to the utilities was because of that one method, this class, get country info. So OpenAPI helper, that's what the object name which we have given. And a single route we have exports was get country info. And there's a get method. So request.args.get, so that means it is expecting a query string with country underscore name. And then we are logging the information, what is that country name which we received. And if country name is none, we are saying that the country name is missing. So if you want to see that, let me check, am I executing that? No. So I'll come back here, and we came back here, and I execute that. Oh, what is that? It considered USA. I didn't pass that. Did it receive it? Oh, see this. Okay, maybe I would have hard coded somewhere. This one, let me try now. Don't send the query string at all. So it says that missing query string. That's what we have seen here, the missing country name. So it's expecting the country name. The USA one was little surprise for me also, because I wasn't expecting that. But good that whatever the mistake I did, it covered this scenario. So then I'm just calling the OpenAPI helper get country info, passing in the country name. It is coming and hitting this method inside this class, which is talking to the Azure OpenAI. So this is about the Flask side of the world. Okay, so let's execute this, and let's try quite a few scenarios. We'll try. We tried one of the negative scenario, and another thing what we can do is we can try passing in different countries. I mean, it's all like, I tested it for a happy day scenario. I didn't test all the edge cases and other things. Just like a positive happy day scenario is okay. If I send this country, a valid country, it is giving me information. Like we tried for United States, India, UAE. Let's try for South Africa, and then we will go towards the Blazor side of the world. Okay, that's cool. So let's come back and spend 1 minute time over here. So we tried these two pieces. So we have the Azure OpenAI, that service is there, and we have written a Flask API which exclusively uh, generates or formulate the prompt and speak to the Azure OpenAI. So it speaks to the Azure OpenAI, sends that prompt, gets the information, spit it out. So that's what it is doing. So now let's come back to the Blazor admin application. So right now we will see we'll see the Blazor template. This is .NET 7 Blazor template. And if you see the Blazor 8 template, which is entirely different, at least I just want to show you that difference, and we'll discuss one or two points on the Blazor 8. Why should we consider using Blazor 8? I mean, there are a lot of new features which got introduced, but I want us to discuss at least the hosting models and what is the powerful hosting model which it is giving. There are a lot of things, but I started exploring uh, Blazor in 8, .NET 8, and this one point I really liked it, so I just wanted to speak on that. First, we will see from the uh, project structure perspective. So a lot of people, they, I mean, again, a disclaimer: I'm not criticizing anyone, or I'm not saying those people are doing wrong, but this is my personal opinion. See, when you're migrating an existing application, simple thing, existing from .NET 7 to .NET 8. So this is the .NET 7 template. Okay, all I can do is I can come in and change the framework to .NET 8, and I can happily come and build it. Okay, let's wait to see that. Personal experience. Okay, ensure that restore. Okay, let's do the restore, and then let's do a clean, and let's do a build. We did restore, we did clean, we did build. And if we think like just changing the framework version, we have migrated our application from .NET 7 to .NET 8. I don't know whether it is right or wrong. From my perspective, I will tell you what is that I'm thinking is that by doing this, we might not take the full advantage of .NET 8. See, it is perfectly compiling. See, when I just change from .NET 7 to .NET 8, it is compiling. From my perspective, I feel that this is not the exact migration. Why? One of the first point is there might be something which the team would have introduced. Now, if you come and see at a high level, if you see these two applications, let me close this. The project structure is entirely different. See, here it is starting with components. Previously, we used to have pages and shared. You can see that. Now they clearly moved those pages and the shared here. Like whatever it used to call shared, those things has been moved into whatever we used to call as a shade. Those things have been moved into layouts, and the pages are still remaining pages. And when we come back and look at the program.cs, there might be something else which the latest framework would have done it. If you so it makes sense to create a new template or at least match it properly. Imagine a scenario where I'm using one of the syntax which is of .NET 7. I just migrated simply by changing its version from .NET 7 to .NET 8. I compiled, it is running. But if at all there is enhancement and it is a performance benefit, they would have changed some syntax or something else has been done in the latest template, .NET 8 template. But still I did it, changed just the value of that in the C# project and compiled it and executing with the same structure what it exists. So I'm not taking the full benefit or full advantage of the .NET 8. This is my personal opinion. Again, I'm telling this is my personal opinion. Okay. Now let's see that another important thing is Blazor hosting model. Let's see this. And this Blazor hosting model, I started loving this like anything. And this I can compare with Next.js, the React or the Next.js one. So this is one piece we definitely have to discuss, even though we are working on the .NET 7 template, but still I really love this. So there are three hosting models. One is this one is this one is hybrid. Blazor Wasm hybrid is a different thing. This is the .NET 8. Okay, when we go and see that template itself, we can see when we are creating the templates itself that initially when it executes it, that's what we will see by executing both this templates one by one. I execute the .NET 7 template. I'm executing the .NET 7 template. Let's wait. Did I forget to change from .NET 8 to .NET 7? I don't remember. Just let me validate that. Because whatever I'm showing will not be true if I didn't change that. Okay, I changed it. So let me clean the solution and then let me execute it. There's one important piece we will need to see here. Just give me a minute. It is coming. Let me open that. We are in the network tab and we are seeing all these values which are coming in here. And this is the WebSocket. WebSockets are this one. The Blazor ID. Let's see this. Are there any messages? Yeah, see this, the messages which are going in. See, the moment I change this one, so there is a messages which are getting transmitted between the client and the server. This is the signal or connection which you can see this in the first hosting model. So this one. So the signal or connection, we saw that the WebSocket is going between both of them. That's one thing. And the second thing is, once we come back to the network tab, I come back to all and let me clear and right mouse click and empty cache, hard reload. Or let's go to the home page and let's do that. I remove that. I'll remove this one also. Okay, I'm in home, right mouse click, empty cache, hard reload. So you can see that. Rest of the things we will not focus on that one. So if you see this here, so the entire page got executed on the server side, and just the HTML markup is getting flushed to the client. And apart from that, we, as we have seen in the picture, in the Microsoft documentation, so these kind of WebSocket stuff you can see is happening. You can see that messages which are getting transferred between the messages which are getting transferred between the client and the server. You can see that when we are doing, there is a signaler connection which is happening between both the client and the server. So the other hosting model is the Blazor WASM. So if you see, uh, where is that? Show that. So Blazor Server and Blazor WASM. So the second hosting, the server hosting model, we have seen that the signaler connection which establishes between both the client and the server. That means client in the sense the browser and the server. So anything which gets executed on the server side, and then it brings the delta here on the browser. So that gets updated. The DOM gets updated. Okay, if you go deep into the documentation, it clearly specifies uh, how that things happen. Like it maintains the two different versions of the DOM on the server side, and if at all there is a delta, only that delta of the HTML markup is sent, and on the browser side that gets updated. So the Blazor WASM is Blazor WebAssembly. It downloads all the things uh, to the client or the browser. So the initial load of the page will take little time because it has to load all the libraries. It has to load all the libraries. Okay. So I think we will see that in action because it's just takes 2 minutes, not more than that. So we'll see. This is a server side. There's a server side template. This is .NET 8, by the way. I didn't get time to change it. I was stuck in some other work. So I'm using the previous demo, but the next session, definitely the part 2 of this session, definitely I'll update. Not update, I'll recreate it in .NET 8. Update doesn't make sense for me. I mean, that's my personal opinion, guys. I'm not pointing anyone. That's my personal opinion. So now when we come back and try to do the same, where am I now? Okay, I'll be here. Now right mouse click, empty cache, hard reload. You'll see that the Blazor browser link and other things which are coming in. And this is the connection which is going on. Let's see that. Let's come back to the local host and see the preview. You see that everything got executed on the server side. Only the markup has been sent here. And now if I come back and uh, check this one, so this is behaving little different from the .NET 7 template. So what is that response headers? Let's see. We got, it is executing there on the server side. Definitely if we see the page here, we can come back to this one inside the pages, inside this weather. This is stream rendering. This is the new one from .NET 8. And I just want to show you one piece. If I want to create something, let me close the solution and create a new project. So we'll see those two templates because we have only 11 minutes left, but at least we can go one or two steps. So this is the Blazor server app, and this is Blazor WebAssembly standalone. There is a new template which got introduced is Blazor web app. Okay, so it's not one type. What is it? It is a combination of both types. So that means when you create uh, Blazor web app, it's not Blazor server, it's not Blazor WebAssembly, it's a Blazor web app. So once you create this Blazor web app, so the interactive mode, so that is what you can discuss, you can define that. So what pages you want to be server rendering, what pages you want to be client rendering. Now, like SSR and all these things, like if you see that next JS 13 and next JS 14, we can create by default Next.js 13, at least where I did couple of samples, where everything is by default server side rendering. So if you want the client side rendering, we used to tag it as a use client, so that we can use the hooks and other things which generally we don't have access to those. And the server rendering will have access to .env, process dot node env, and all those things we used to have access on the server rendering, not on the client rendering. So each has got its own benefits. So similarly, this template, particular template called Blazor web app template, it is giving you a muscle power to create a project where you can define whether how do you want the interactive render mode, whether you want server or whether you want WebAssembly auto. But generally, the suggested thing is to keep it none and go ahead with the interactive location. So give the flexibility to the page by page component. So let the page decide whether they want to be server rendered or the client render. Okay. So that's, oh, did I click on? Yes. Oh God, I did it by mistake, guys, by the way. uh, that's one thing. Let's come back to our solution. I just wanted to give that one tip, which I really liked it. And the next thing is, here we come to the app settings JSON. So inside that app settings JSON, we can have different configuration, because once we go back to the big picture, so this solution is speaking with uh, Python Flask API. In next session, once we retrieve the country's information from Python Flask API, we will call the .NET 8 minimal API to store the data into this one. I mean, this connection, the line connection 5 will get dismantled, and from 5 will be here. So 6, we are talking to the minimal API. So that is the reason the Blazor admin application will have two backend connections, one to speak to the API and another speak to the .NET 8 minimal API to store the data. That's one thing. And here the models, the different DTOs are there. One is to retrieve and one is to save. Okay. So this one is to retrieve. Just if we give that, it gives the country information to us. And we can see that if I come into the pages here, once we come into this one, uh, you see that here HTTP client factory, and that we are invoking the HTTP client factory create client. So the name client we are using the Flask countries API. So the Flask countries API is, it is pointing to localhost 5000. So the .NET 8 will be in some other port. As of today, let's discuss only on this Flask endpoint. So that it is retrieving, and the response, if the status code is 200, that means we will retrieve the content and deserialize to countries info DTO. So where is that? Here, this one, the countries info DTO. This is what we are getting it. So even though our object properties are called capital, state, country name, country population, and national birth, but what is that Python Flask is returning? Python Flask is returning country underscore name, capital underscore state, and national underscore birth. So we specify the JSON property name, tag it to each and every field, so that while retrieving, it does the transformation automatically. Okay. And here we are using the bootstrap, and this is also another thing which I want to highlight. uh, this bootstrap, so you can see that this template bootstrap and open ionic, so those were the icons. And here the everything is coming from the bootstrap itself right now. So now if you go to the layout, we'll see that inside this nav menu. So let me come back to the layout here, the shade one, and go to the nav menu. nav menu, and here you can see OI, so Open Ionic, and here it's coming from the Bootstrap. So this is a different. I mean, there are a lot of things they have changed it in the .NET 8 template. So I suggest we go and use the latest .NET 8 one. So we'll see component tracer. I think that's one simple thing which I want to highlight while we are discussing about the icons. Uh, Everything is coming in here. And travel admin and the site CSS and other CSS are there. That those are not uh, that much difference. But another change was I'll be refactoring this one because the number of files are reduced and a lot of unification has been done. So I'll rewrite it, and also uh, I am not maintaining separation of concerns. That is my mistake, because the UI should not call the backend to get it data. So that's the concern of services. I should have a services folder, move this API interaction to the services class, and use the service class similar to what we did it in the Python Flask here. In the Python Flask, if you see that, the this API, it is not doing that interaction. All it is doing is it is using the service layer, it is passing the country name, and the service layer, wherever it is, this one, the service layer is interacting with that. So similarly, I will be refactoring it. I just identified that one. I have to spend some time. So that is the interaction which happens. Now let's see the end to end. How are we doing it? I'll place a breakpoint over here. So we'll execute that. Okay, I'm here. So we got it. And let's go and get information of Peru. So we came in here. The client is a HTTP client. It's pointing to the Python Flask API, and we get this information. Let's see. Country name is Peru. That means it has sent the results, which is back to this one. So even the admins should view it, isn't it? So this page, I put it as a under construction, which I think I should be able to get this up and running by next session. Okay. So I think Rashmita will share the URLs of the demo script and the source code location. And that's it from my side. If we have any queries, we will go over those now. Rashmita, do we have any queries?
No, Swamy, we don't have any questions at the moment, and I've already shared the links in the chat section.
Okay. So
So,
we can call it a happy weekend one day
yeah,
earlier.
definitely.
Okay.
Definitely. And thank you,
Right.
Swami, for again hosting an amazing session. Thank you all for joining us today. Please visit Microsoft Reactor website for more upcoming session. Feel free to use the Learn module links shared in the chat section. This will give you access to additional resources to take your learning further. Thank you all once again and enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you, guys.